One of the reasons Marx fought online so much, basically, he did the equivalent of fighting online, is that he knew he was right and he was correct. Like, of course, everybody thinks they're right, but a few of the people who think they're right are correct. And on these questions, Marx did not just think he was right, he was correct. And he had no bourgeois anxiety about letting people know he was right. And so that's why he was just this battering ram of contempt for other people. Part of the problem we have now is that everybody is trying to do their own little versions of explaining the world as they understand it out into the, putting their barbaric yawp out into the environment, out into the atmosphere. All of them have Marx's conviction that they're right with none of his accuracy. Because now they psychologically need to be right. Marx is operating from first principle correctness that he then builds his the rest of his identity around. And of course he has bourgeois fixations. He was an aspiring bourgeois gentleman. Like, that was his lifestyle. It was what he tried to be. He knocked up the maid, for God's sake. How much more bourgeois can you get than that? Engels was more of a bohemian. Like, he shacked up with 2 Irish sisters. But he was trying to live as a bourgeois. But all of that was premised on his certainty of his own correctness. And then he worked from that. For the modern leftists, leftism is just another another personality trait that they have adapted. And that's true of me. That's true of most people on the left. It is an affectation because you don't really get to do anything with it except consume and make media. And so these people have Marx's absolute conviction that they're correct on top of actual political opinions and ideas that are barely held, that are motivated by the need to have an opinion. Like, that's what they're saying, no, shut up. I'm right about this. It's shut up. I have an opinion and want to be acknowledged. So yeah, that's sadly where we are, really. People expressing themselves through a subculture that has associations, real associations with a historic tradition of leftism that is not currently a going cultural concern, that is not attached to real institutions of working class power. The kind that Marx assumed would exist and would continue to exist. And now they are all shells. No. We still, though, can change that at any moment. That is historical contingency. We can break out of these structures. But we cannot break out of them through interaction with politics as spectacle. And it is up to us to determine what in our lives is spectacle and what is action. Not that we get rid of spectacle, because spectacle is also a necessary component of our socialization, because we're too alone to do anything else. It just means separating our need to act politically from our need to create a political identity. To not define our political identity through consumption and ritualized voting and stuff. And debating.